The Ku Klux Klan, or simply, the Klan, is the name of three distinct past and present movements in the United States that have advocated extremist reactionary currents such as white supremacy, white nationalism, and anti-immigration, historically expressed through terrorism aimed at groups or individuals whom they opposed. All three movements have called for the purification of American society, and all are considered right-wing extremist organizations. The first Ku Klux Klan flourished in the southern United States in the late 1860s, then died out by the early 1870s. It sought to overthrow the Republican state governments in the South during the Reconstruction era, especially by using violence against African American leaders. With numerous chapters across the South, it was suppressed around 1871, through federal enforcement. Members made their own, often colorful, costumes, robes, masks, and conical hats, designed to be terrifying, and to hide their identities. The second group was founded in 1915 and flourished nationwide in the early and mid-1920s, particularly in urban areas of the Midwest and West. It opposed Catholics and Jews, especially newer immigrants, and stressed opposition to the Catholic Church. This second organization adopted a standard white costume and used similar code words as the first Klan, while adding cross burnings and mass parades. The third and current manifestation of the KKK emerged after 1950, in the form of small, local, unconnected groups that used the KKK name. They focused on opposition to the civil rights movement, often using violence and murder to suppress activists. It is classified as a hate group by the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center. It is estimated to have between 5,000 and 8,000 members as of 2012. The second and third incarnations of the Ku Klux Klan made frequent reference to the Americas, Anglo-Saxon, blood, harkening back to 19th-century nativism. Though members of the KKK swore to uphold American values and Christian morality, virtually every Christian denomination officially denounced the KKK. Overview: Three clans. First KKK. The first Klan was founded in Pulaski, Tennessee sometime between December 1865 and August 1866 by 6 former members of the Confederate Army as a fraternal social club inspired at least in part by the then largely defunct Sons of Malta, from which parts of the initiation ceremony were borrowed, with the same purpose. Ludicrous initiations, the baffling of public curiosity, and the amusement for members were the only objects of the Klan. The name is probably derived from the Greek word kuklos, which means circle. According to the Cyclopedia of Fraternities, beginning in April 1867, there was a gradual transformation. The members had conjured up a veritable Frankenstein. They had played with an engine of power and mystery, though organized on entirely innocent lines, and found themselves overcome by a belief that something must lie behind it all, that there was, after all, a serious purpose, a work for the Klan to do, although there was little organizational structure above the local level. Similar groups rose across the South and adopted the same name and methods. Klan groups spread throughout the South as an insurgent movement during the Reconstruction era in the United States. As a secret vigilante group, the Klan targeted freedmen and their allies. It sought to restore white supremacy by threats and violence, including murder, against black and white Republicans. In 1870 and 1871, the federal government passed the Enforcement Acts, which were successfully enforced in prosecuting and suppressing Klan crimes. The first Klan had mixed results in terms of achieving its objectives. It seriously weakened the black political establishment through its use of assassinations and threats of violence. It drove some people out of politics. On the other hand, it caused a sharp backlash, with passage of federal laws that historian Eric Fohn says were a success in terms of restoring order, reinvigorating the morale of Southern Republicans, and enabling blacks to exercise their rights as citizens. Historian George C. Rabel argues that the Klan was a political failure and therefore was discarded by the Democratic leaders of the South. He says, the Klan declined in strength in part because of internal weaknesses, its lack of central organization and the failure of its leaders to control criminal elements and sadists. More fundamentally, it declined because it failed to achieve its central objective, the overthrow of Republican state governments in the South. Second KKK in 1915. The Second Klan was founded in Atlanta, Georgia. Starting in 1921, it adopted a modern business system of using full-time paid recruiters and appealed to new members as a fraternal organization, of which many examples were flourishing at the time. The national headquarters made its profit through a monopoly of costume sales, while the organizers were paid through initiation fees. It grew rapidly nationwide at a time of prosperity. Reflecting the social tensions pitting urban versus rural America, it spread to every state and was prominent in many cities. The Second KKK preached 100% Americanism, and demanded the purification of politics, calling for strict morality and better enforcement of prohibition. Its official rhetoric focused on the threat of the Catholic Church, using anti-Catholicism and nativism. Its appeal was directed exclusively at white Protestants. It opposed Jews, blacks, Catholics, and newly arriving Southern European groups such as Italians. Some local groups threatened violence against rum runners and notorious sinners. The violent episodes generally took place in the South. The Second Klan was a formal fraternal organization, with a national and state structure. At its peak in the mid-1920s, the organization claimed to include about 15% of the nation's eligible population, approximately 4 to 5 million men. Internal divisions, criminal behavior by leaders, and external opposition brought about a collapse in membership, which had dropped to about 30,000 by 1930. It finally faded away in the 1940s. Klan organizers also operated in Canada, especially in Saskatchewan in 1926–28, where Klansmen denounced immigrants from Eastern Europe as a threat to Canada's British heritage. Third KKK, the Ku Klux Klan name, was used by numerous independent local groups opposing the civil rights movement and desegregation, especially in the 1950s and 1960s. During this period, they often forged alliances with Southern police departments, as in Birmingham, Alabama, or with governor's officers, as with George Wallace of Alabama. Several members of KKK groups were convicted of murder in the deaths of civil rights workers in Mississippi in 1964 and children in the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham in 1963. Today, researchers estimate that there may be 150 Klan chapters with upwards of 5,000 members nationwide. Today, many sources classify the Klan as a subversive or terrorist organization. In April 1997, FBI agents arrested 4 members of the True Knights of the Ku Klux Klan in Dallas for conspiracy to commit robbery and conspiring to blow up a natural gas processing plant. In 1999, the City Council of Charleston, South Carolina passed a resolution declaring the Klan to be a terrorist organization. In 2004, a professor at the University of Louisville began a campaign to have the Klan declared a terrorist organization in order to ban it from campus.